The longer you've been in Hollywood, the more rules you are trying to live by. But the thing is that for every rule in Hollywood, there's always an exception.
What if it's been 5 or 10 years and someone's not any closer to their quote-unquote dream? And they come here from somewhere else?
I think that question has nuance because I've worked with a lot of people who have been here for 5 or 10 years who feel nowhere near their dreams and who are really struggling. But if we're really honest, it's not like absolutely nothing has happened in 5 or 10 years. So maybe they're not where they want to be yet. They haven't booked that big TV show yet if they're an actor, or they haven't booked that big project, whatever their craft is. But it's I don't think I've ever met any artist out here who literally has not done a single thing in their career in 5 or 10 years, unless they got a day job that became their sole, priority. And then they just worked on, let me get a promotion at my day job. Let me try to move up here. And that becomes the priority. So the only time I've ever seen like literally nothing happen is when the day job becomes the priority over the dream, and they kind of let the dream go for all those years. But of my clients that I've worked with, I think it's important to celebrate what you have achieved and to take, even if you're not where you want to be and it's been years, take a look at what you've actually done, even if it feels small to you, because I think that if you can start shifting your focus onto what you have done instead of what you haven't, it'll help you feel more confident. It'll help you feel, just better energy. You'll feel proud of yourself. You'll feel better. And so I think that will lead to more things happening. Now, that being said, when I work with people, there's so many things that we can take a look at why are you not where you want to be yet? And so we can take a look at what are the strategies that you either haven't tried at all, or that you have been procrastinating, that's a big thing, or that, there's so many pieces. Sorry, I feel like this is gonna be a long answer, but there's so many pieces to it. It's like, with the strategy piece, it's like, are there things that you haven't tried? And then if there are, let's take a look at why, right? And that all comes down to your belief system. The fears that you have, the doubts that you have, whether or not you believe in yourself. And that can get very nuanced as well. We get deep into what is really, truly holding you back from doing some of these strategic moves that you really haven't done yet. And then another thing that I've noticed with some of my clients is that the longer you have been in the industry, and I always say Hollywood, but I don't say Hollywood as in the location. I call the industry Hollywood. So the longer you've been in Hollywood, if you've been in Hollywood for 5 or 10 years, you end up having more limiting beliefs than somebody who is brand new. Because someone who is brand new, they're so green and they're so naive that they take more risks because they're not afraid of doing the wrong thing because they don't know what the wrong thing is. Whereas someone who's been here for a long time and has been in the industry for a long time, you know more about how the industry works, and you might know more about behind the scenes and what relationships are important and what you need to be doing. And then because of that, you lose your sense of risk-taking and being bold and putting yourself out there, in a, I hate to say in a risky way, but it's all about risk-taking. It's all about putting yourself out there and taking risks. And so the longer you've been in Hollywood, the more rules you are trying to live by. But the thing is that for every rule in Hollywood, there's always an exception. So you don't necessarily want to use these rules to hold you back. And when I say rules, just for an example, in the industry, some of my actor clients, when they are if they need to get a new agent or a new manager, one of the rules in Hollywood is you should never contact representation and reach out to them during pilot season. Right? There's certain times of the year that's busier, maybe the beginning of episodic or, when pilot season is going on, and you're not supposed to reach out. Right? And so it's just because you know how the industry works. You've been in the industry a long time. You know that there's a pilot season. You know that people are really busy during pilot season. But there's always going to be an exception to that rule. That rule is not really set in stone. And so if you follow that rule because you think you have this knowledge about how the industry works and you want to be good and follow these rules that you think you know, in that process, you are stopping yourself from taking a risk. And I've had many clients book agents during pilot season and then are able to go out for pilot season. So that's just a little example, of, I think, some of the things that hold people back in Hollywood. The more they know, the more it tends to hold them back. And then also with that, there's a third part of this that I've really noticed with some of my clients is that the more you know, the more boxes you try to fit into. And I feel like that's just a big thing in Hollywood that a lot of people struggle, no matter if you're a writer, a director, working behind the scenes somehow, an actor. Even my production designer boss a couple years ago fell into that of like, how can I, I do drama and they don't think I can do comedy. And so I have found that a lot of people get stuck in these boxes because they're trusting other people to tell them what box they fit into. Like with actors, it all starts in the beginning with headshots. I've seen this so many times where an actor is told to put their headshot on Facebook and ask everyone on Facebook, what roles can you see me as with this headshot? What shows do you see me in according to this headshot? And that's a super common thing, right? And if they're not asking their Facebook friends, they're asking their agents, their managers, their teachers. But every time you do that, you are asking somebody else to tell you how to live your dream. And you're letting somebody else dictate what roles you go out for, what projects you get to be a part of. And you completely lose your voice. And so I think that when people struggle in the 5 to 10 year range, I think that sometimes, depending on the person, plays a part where all of these years, maybe they've been trying to pursue the industry in these boxes that they were told they should be in. But it never feels good and it never feels aligned. And so they struggle. I have one of my clients really struggle with that. And, she's done such beautiful work as we work together for the past 2 years. And she's really come into her own, she's really connected with who she really is now and who she wants to be and not who Hollywood has been telling her to be all these years. And then that leads to more exciting opportunities because you're more confident and standing in your own more often. And, that will bleed into the work that you do. Even though it sounds counterintuitive, like, oh, Erica, but Hollywood loves the boxes. Stepping out of that is somehow going to help you succeed. I think yes. I think it's about alignment and being yourself 100%. I think that will always lead to more success.
I love what you're saying. What if we can't accurately see ourselves? Because I knew someone who was auditioning and she was doing well and she was about to turn 30, which when you look back at it from an older age is not old at all. But a friend, or so she thought, said, oh, let me see your headshots. And so she showed this friend and the friend said, oh, and he gave her this feedback. He said, look, you're getting near 30, so you're going to want to aim for mom roles. Mm-hmm. So maybe tone down the sexy factor a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that was sort of eye-opening to this person because they still saw themselves as this, not sex kitten, but they just saw themselves as not as the mom. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just wondering, how much is it that we're blinded by ourselves because we can't really see ourselves accurately sometimes? Or was she allowing this person to really tell her how to be?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I'm sure that, every agent or casting director or whatever will disagree with me. But I think that the more we buy into the boxes, the more we are helping perpetuate the problem. And so I think that, with the rise of streamers like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, we are getting to see more complex stories, which is amazing because with the networks of ABC, NBC, Fox, those are likely following formulas that have worked before. And they're a little more stereotyped when it comes to characters and content and, and story. But because there's so much more content now available with the streaming, I really do feel that we are finally moving into an area of Hollywood where we are getting more complex storytelling. And so to me, like the mom, right? You turn 30 and then you need to play the mom. It's like, could you be a super complex character that happens to have a child? Right? And so I think that we need to stop letting Hollywood define us as the mom. Even if that feels hard, even if you feel like you're getting the advice from someone trusted who's been in the industry, I think it is partly on us to stop perpetuating those kinds of things that happen. Like the client that I was talking about, she just came out as non-binary. And that can be really scary as an actor, because she's having to explore with her representation what that means in terms of what roles she wants to go out for. But for her to even have that conversation with her representation, she is breaking through the boxes and the Hollywood stuff, of stereotypes. And she is challenging it because she is saying, this is who I am. This is who I know that I am. And so let's explore what kind of complex roles I can play. So I guess to answer your question about, finding ourselves if we feel like maybe we've lost ourselves, I think you have to begin by tuning out everything, tuning out the noise. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to other people. You have to get back to yourself and what your dream truly is. The very first chapter of my book, I invite people to write down everything they would love to happen in their career, everything that you dream of. Get back to that dream you had in your heart when you were a kid or whenever it was that you decided you wanted to pursue this dream. Get back to that and connect to that. And really, some of my clients too, they'll study, they'll do some research and watch, some shows that they really love and start to explore what excites them. When you watch this, do you feel really excited because you'd love to play a complex role like this person? So I think that process involves, you reconnecting with your own intuition and tuning out the noise and get really true to who you are and decide that you are worthy and are capable of succeeding as who you are, even if others tell you, no, you need to play the mom or no, you need to fit in this box.